Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week we have 12 incredible watches for you guys and girls, and it's one I'm very excited for because we have probably one of the most diverse selections on the table today. Now granted, most of them are modern watches, there's no vintage watches on the table, the oldest watch is from 2002, but there's a real mix of watches, styles, brands, everything, and this is exactly what I want to bring to the table. As always with vintage as well, rest assured next week there's some incredible vintage. I'm very excited for next week's drop as well. But anyway, we're here to talk about this week's drop. Now, as always, if you go into the description, there will be a timestamp for every single watch on the table. So let's say you're just here to see the Studio Underdog, you can go straight to that watch and skip all the rambling. There's also a link to take you to every single watch on the table where you'll see more photos, more details on whether the watch is available and how much the watch is. Do keep in mind, under the points of mention, there is a extra link that will take you to additional watches of all of the watches, additional photos, sorry, of all of the watches. And that's regardless of the price. Every single watch gets that treatment. And it's something I try to do just in general, really, by providing the same service across the board, whether you're looking at a £200 watch or a £20,000 watch. You know, it's one thing I've always made a priority with the business. Now, incredibly, every single week there are new people coming to the website, to the videos, to the drops, and I want to just say welcome. My name's James, I run Kibble Watches, and this is a dream come true for me to be able to do this for a living, and it's thanks to you guys and girls. Now, every single Saturday, 9:30 a.m. on the dot, we release new watches. Somewhere between 8 and 12, typically is more towards 12. We've done 12 for quite a while now, and they go on the website 9:30 a.m. sharp. We do the video, we do the drop, everything like that, and we do that every single Saturday. Now, if you want to beat the drop, as in get one of these watches before they ever make it this far, you can do so via Instagram or our broadcast list on WhatsApp. All the details of that can be found on our Instagram at Kibble Watches. You can see the coming soon highlights reel. There's also a highlights reel explaining how to join the broadcast list. Give that a read and follow the instructions. It's the easiest thing to do. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's have a look at what's on wrist. I'm wearing a watch that I absolutely love. This is an Elise Nardin 36,000 chronometer watch with a very interesting case shape, beautiful dial, and 36,000 is in reference to the high beat movement. It's got its original crown. It's just a really, really cool little thing, and I think Elise Nardin are massively underrated. This is one that may eventually come for sale, and if it does, it will be just under that £1,000 price range, which in my opinion is just insane. The amount of watch you get for the money, if this had a brand even just like Omega, it'd be a hell of a lot more, yet this is just as good, if not arguably better, which I think is quite interesting. But anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think of Elise Nardin, especially vintage, and what you think of Elise Nardin now with the modern watch. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that's the watches on the table. We're going to start with this gorgeous Rolex Daytona. This is the now discontinued reference, only just discontinued, with the black ceramic bezel and dial. A gorgeous watch. Let's take a closer look. So starting this week off with a gorgeous Rolex Daytona. As I said, this is now the discontinued reference 116500LN, and the changes in the latest one you can read up online, but to be honest, they're minimal. They make a difference, but to each their own. Some people still absolutely prefer this, and I to be honest, I'd be very happy with either, as I'm sure a lot of people would be. So this is the black dial, black bezel. Now, as I say in the title of this watch, it is partially stickered. So let's quickly cover those. You have stickers on the clasp, and when you open up the clasp, the sticker's still present, and a sticker on the case back. So those are the stickers we're referring to when we say partially stickered. The watch has been worn a handful of times and comes in very, very good condition. If you look very closely under a loupe with direct light, you will see a couple of scratches. And something to point out, a previous owner of the watch, or wherever it was before, whoever took out links, were a bit rough with the links being taken out, so the screws are not perfect. They have a couple of scratches and things like that, but they all come out perfectly fine. So just something to point out. So as I say, this is the reference 116500LN, and this model is from February 2023 with its full box and paperwork, and comes with the remainder of its Rolex warranty. Now, behind that close case back is an automatic Rolex caliber 4130, and the watch is gorgeous, as you can see. Running seconds down there at 6 o'clock, and the rest of your chronograph subdials with your chronograph seconds, all powered through screw down pushers. So you have to unscrew the pushers. Let me demonstrate. like so to utilize, and once you unscrew them, you can then push in the pusher. As such, it starts the chronograph. Obviously, if you wanted to keep the chronograph running, make sure you screw these pushers back down. Push to stop, and the bottom one to reset. And as always, ensure you screw the pushers back down. Same with the crown itself at 3 o'clock. Really attractive watch and priced incredibly well. This is the most affordable Rolex Daytona black dial of this reference on the market in the UK as I say this. And it's also one of the newest, so it's got both going for it. So if you're after one of these, it's going to be hard to find a better one than this. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, you can see it just wears beautifully. Rolex know exactly what they're doing, especially when it comes to the Daytona, arguably their most popular watch on the market. This is 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, 12mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lug, so endless options. But to be honest, I think it looks best on the bracelet. So go check this watch out on the website today. From there over to a different chronograph, and very different chronograph it is. This is the Zenith Bamford edition, a very unique looking watch, and it's called the Radar. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up is the gorgeous Zenith El Primero. This is the Chronomaster Bamford edition, nicknamed the Radar. Now, I recently sold the collective edition Zenith, which was limited to 50, and in that video I said it's one of the most limited editions, if not the most limited they've ever done, and by them I mean Zenith. It turns out Zenith have done a limited edition of 25 in the past, and this exact watch in my hand is limited to 50 total. So this is just as limited as the one we looked at before. Now I won't bore you with the reference of this one, incredibly long reference as always with Zenith, you can go see that on the website, but there's no mistaking that gorgeous, gorgeous dial. You can see just how incredible it looks with all of those detailing. I'm a big, big fan. And the big counter star on the counter chronograph seconds, as you'd expect, date down at 3 o'clock, nicely placed in my opinion. Something to keep in mind with Zenith, with the El Primero, it's backwards to what you'd expect, meaning when you pull out the crown one position, you're in time change, and you go out to the final position to change the date. Typically, it's in reverse for watches. This is stainless steel. It is not titanium, although it looks like titanium, and it has this really gorgeous finish throughout, so you still get that heft of stainless steel. Nice exhibition case back as we open up the butterfly clasp or deployant. Exhibition case back showcasing the automatic Zenith El Primero caliber 400B, a really attractive workhorse movement, and you can see it comes paired on its original strap, and to be honest, the watch is in like new condition. It looks like it's never really been worn, so ready to be enjoyed for the first time. This one's from November 2022, and it does come with its full box and paperwork, and as I say, limited to just 50 watches total. Traditional chronograph, as you'd expect, start, stop, and reset. All feels very nice and robust, and Zenith, the El Primeros have a nice spring to them, so when you use it, it sort of springs into action and it springs back, as you can see. It's just a very, very nice tactile feeling chronograph, and they always have been. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, this is on the larger side for the Chronomasters at 42mm, but it still wears incredibly well at 50.5mm lug to lug, so just at that sort of maximum spot for me personally, which is around the 50mm. I find that to be the sort of top end of what I feel comfortable with, but I can totally get away with this one very easily. 14mm on the thickness and 21mm on the lugs, so a little awkward, but there are options out there, so go check out this incredible watch on the website today. From there over to a brand from China, and I think they're producing some incredible watches. This is absolutely beautiful. This is the Atelier Wen Revolution Perception Red limited edition of just 50 watches, 100 watches total. A very unique looking watch. Let's take a closer look. Now on to this incredible Atelier Wen. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, so I do apologize, but this piece right here is a collaboration between Atelier Wen and Revolution, Waco's sort of a baby, if you will, and this is the Perception model with the most incredible red dial I have seen. It just looks absolutely beautiful, and the way it plays with the light and the texture throughout is really, really nicely done with those vibrant leaf hands which are loomed, and this very interesting sort of porthole almost case, kind of like a Aquanaut, I guess you could say, or a Nautilus, sorry, with the way it protrudes here, but definitely of its own design, and a bezel which slopes inwards. and is beautifully finished, all in titanium. As you come around, you can see the sort of integrated link bracelet, which just looks really, really attractive, and a push button clasp right here, which has the logo, which when you push it in, it's a glide adjust for the clasp. I love it when watches do this. Glasso also do this on a couple of their dive watch ranges. Really well machined overall, and as we take a look at the case back, you can see that is very, very cool. Red rotor in there, which as you spin round, it moves and you can sort of reveal the beating heart right there, and as it comes around it covers and makes it look like a red mouth. Very, very cool. Limited to 100 pieces total, and inside this is an automatic Dandong Cow SL1588. Again, I apologize for butchering that if I did, but it's a very high grade movement in here, and this one's from May 2023 with its full box and paperwork. Its box is beautiful. It has like a travel pouch in there as well, like a case, which is very, very handy. It also comes fitted with its fitted white rubber strap option, so you've got both in there. Very, very nice package overall, and I think, in my opinion, priced very well for something like this in titanium. It's a bit more out there. Again, the kind of watch, if you know, you know kind of thing, which I'm a big fan of, as it's no surprise here with the kind of stuff we stock, so it makes complete sense we'd have something like this. But I show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. I think it looks really, really good. It's super comfortable, and just a great design overall. The way it plays with the light, the slightly darker tone of the titanium against the bright red, is beautiful. So this is 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 9mm on the thickness and 22mm at the widest point of the lugs. So go check this watch out on the website today. From there to a watch I've always loved the look of and wears surprisingly well considering the big size and the weight. That's this IWC Aqua Chronograph in 44mm, a beautiful watch with a blue and vibrant orange. Let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the IWC Aqua Chronograph with the beautiful blue, which is a dark blue, but in some lights it definitely pops, and in other lights it goes almost black, with the highlights of orange proudly on there on the bezel, the minute hand and the running seconds, which just looks absolutely incredible in my opinion. So this is the reference IW376703, and this one's from circa 2014. Doesn't come with any box or paperwork, but it does come with its fitted blue rubber strap, and this is one of the first models where they incorporated their quick release system into the bracelet right there, which is also on the strap, so it's nice and easy to change. You basically push that down and pull the bracelet away from the case, and then you can clip the strap in. Very simple, very easy to use. Screw down crown at 3 o'clock and pushes as you'd expect to use the chronograph. Inside this is an automatic IWC caliber 79320, which is basically a very modified ETA inside this. We do a bit more, we'll go into a bit more detail on the website. As you'd expect, this comes in at 44mm. We'll talk more about the size in a minute, but it wears incredibly well and it has a real heft to it, as you'd come to expect, in my opinion, from a big chronograph diver like this. It feels like a tool on the wrist, and the bracelet has brushed and polished parts with a simple folding clasp like so. To remove the links, it has their push button system where you basically push that in and then you push one of the bars one way and it will come out. It's an easy way of doing it, but it's unless you know what you're doing, it can be a bit confusing at first. So just keep that in mind when changing links if you need to, which you may not need to do. So yeah, beautiful watch. Let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Something I forgot to say, it is obviously worn, there are scratches, and we can have it polished on request. But for me personally, I like this watch with a bit of wear because, as I say, it's a big tall watch. I think it suits the wear. But as always, we can have that taken off and looking like brand new for you. At an extra cost and time frame to delivery, so just let me know. But this is 44mm by 51mm lug to lug, 15mm on the thickness and 22mm on the lugs. As I say, with the bracelet and the fitted blue rubber strap, which looks fantastic, and you can see that on the watch under the additional photos on the listing. So go check it out on the website today. Now to a very attractive dive watch from Doxa. This is the Doxa Sub 300 Aqua Marine, I always butcher the pronunciation, Aqua Marine Blue automatic. Let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to Doxa with the Doxa Sub 300 Aqua Marine Blue diver, as you can see with that. Some places and some people call it Tiffany blue because any sort of very light aquamarine blue like this, everyone just associates with Tiffany. I get it, but I prefer the name Aquamarine personally. I won't bore you with the reference of this one. It's a long reference. You can go see it on the website, but this one's from circa 2021 with its box and papers. You can see the nice polished and brushed bezel, which rotates as you'd expect. Really loud, robust click to it, as you can hear. Let me make sure I get that lined up. Date over at 3 o'clock, screw down crown at 3 o'clock with the matching aquamarine blue. Why can't I say that word? Aquamarine blue fish in there. Brushed and polished sides with this iconic Doxa C case. I think it's iconic anyway, and paired on the equally iconic with this design, beads of rice bracelet with a folding clasp and dive extension hidden away. These are quite tight clasps, so you just got to get your nail under there, which I don't have much of a nail, so it takes me a little second longer. Nice signed screw down case back, and inside is an automatic Celita SW200. You really cannot go wrong with a watch like this, especially if you're after a bit more of a colourful diver, and the sub 300 range is incredibly iconic from Doxa, going all the way back, and a brand with real history and heritage in the diving world. So I'm a big fan. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimension. Here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, these wear so well because of that cushion case design. So whilst it's 43mm in case size, it's only 45.5mm lug to lug, which is incredibly short for the case size itself, so it wears incredibly well. Only 13mm on the thickness, and do keep in mind some of that is in that heavily domed sapphire crystal you see right there, so it wears very low to the wrist, and 20mm on the lugs, and obviously that first link tapers out slightly from the case, making it wear that little bit bigger. But there are options for fitted rubber straps from Doxa for this, which also look great. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to one of the more underrated from the German brand Glasso Original, in my opinion anyway. This is the Glasso Original 60s Annual Edition with a beautiful sort of baby blue dial that just works so incredibly well. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to a Glasso Original 60s Annual Edition with this incredible dial, which is super dynamic and plays with the light, as you can see, and probably quite difficult to see in general just because of how vibrant it looks on the camera. In person it's a lot more legible than it appears on the camera. You have these beautiful Art Deco style numerals right there, simple design layout but absolutely beautiful, based on a vintage watch from the Glasso Original archives. I won't bore you with the reference, it's incredibly long, you can go see that on the website, and this specific one is from December 2020 with its box and paperwork. Signed crown at 3 o'clock, really nice condition overall. It's definitely been worn and enjoyed, but nothing too major. We can have it polished on request, but I don't think it needs it personally. And as we flip it over, another star of the show with the most interesting case back, which is a shaped sapphire crystal, as you can see. So it helps with the thickness and the wearability, but it also creates this beautiful viewing platform for the movement, which is an automatic Glasso Original caliber 39-52, and you can see 60s automatic stated inside the movement holder, and that really attractive movement right there with gold on the rotors you'd expect from Glasso Original, and just beautiful finishing all round, ready to be worn and enjoyed. I'm a big fan of this one. As I say, December 2020, it's paired on its original strap with its original buckle. The strap has got some wear, as you can see, and some slight damage right there. We can throw in an additional strap. It obviously won't be a Glasso Original strap, but an additional strap to wear this on if you want to obviously preserve this for a little while longer. But to be honest, I'll just wear it on this and enjoy it. And talking about that, let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, you can see proportionally it works beautifully, and the overall design just looks incredible, especially with that heavily curved sapphire crystal on the front and also the back. And you can see it just hugs the wrist effortlessly. So this watch is 39mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 9.5 on the thickness, and that's including both heavily domed sapphire crystals on the front and back, and 19mm on the lug width. So a little awkward, but there's plenty of options out there, especially from brands like WatchGecko or have custom made with strap tailor. But yeah, really attractive, good looking watch, and nice discount on retail, and again priced very competitively against the rest of the ones on the market today. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to another brand, very underrated in my opinion. This is the Showard Luc GMT 142mm automatic a incredible watch for the money with a beautiful movement. I also have the rose gold one available on the website as well. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the Showard LUC GMT 1, a very, very good looking watch if you're in the market for a larger size GMT with an internal rotating bezel. As we pull this crown out, you can see you can rotate the inner bezel to allow you to track 3 time zones total with your home time zone, your GMT separate GMT hand time zone, and the internal bezel. There's plenty of videos explaining how exactly to use that, so go check those out. But yeah, really, really good looking watch. A matching date wheel at 6 o'clock, which blends in with the design. Again, beautifully done. Something LUC Showard are very known for, which is, you know, just beautiful designs. As we flip the case around, you're presented with a brushed side and 2 crowns, one with the crosshatch logo and the other with LUC proudly stated. And again, around the other side, that nice brushed finish is seen throughout. As we flip it over, polished case back, which is screwed down with a gorgeous movement. I mean, just look at that. Kind of amazing, really, to have this in a more sporty watch. I always find that interesting. You know, a GMT watch like this is one to be worn whilst traveling, and yet you're still presented with a gorgeous movement that Showard have clearly put a lot of time into. Now, I won't bore you with the reference to this one. It's quite a long reference. You can go read it online. But inside is an automatic LUC 01.10-L. Quite a long-winded movement, but there you go. Definitely worth it for the design. And this one is from March 2017 with its box and paperwork, ready to be worn and enjoyed. It comes on its original strap, which again is getting a little bit tired, but still wearable, still usable. And we can throw in an additional strap as well if you so require. And you have your original LUC buckle, which is beautiful. Now, as I say, the watch is worn, has been enjoyed. There are some scratches and marks, nothing to the sapphire crystal, as you'd expect. We can have it polished and refinished on request, but as always, I really don't think it's worth it. I think just enjoy it, wear it, add more scratches, add more character. You know, at the end of the day, these are watches. They're supposed to be worn. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. If you're in the market for a higher end GMT, something that's maybe a bit more under the radar, other than for the people who really know, this is one to consider. So what you're looking at is 42mm by 50.5mm lug to lug, 11mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lug, so endless options for swapping the strap out. And to be honest, anything with black's going to look good. I would really suggest a black with orange stitching. Like getting something like that made would look incredible. So go check this one out on the website today. Now onto a brand that most people have never heard of, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, there's no question about it. This is an Emily Corrette Ice Clear 40mm blue. It comes with the bracelet and the strap, and it's a really, really good looking watch for not a lot of money at all, in my opinion. So let's take a closer look. Now onto a brand that I think a lot of people will not be aware of, and one I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of once again. This is the Emily Corrette. I'm not too sure exactly how to pronounce it, so I apologize. And this is the Ice Cliff Blue Automatic with a incredible texture to the dial. As you can see, it's got this very nice matte finish, but around the outer edge you've got this sort of minute track, which is these little raised blue bits, and then you've got this texture around the outside where the big applied Roman numerals are and the batons, and then these almost tuning fork style hands is something that the brand is very well known for, and they use on a lot of their watches, and they actually make some really beautiful watches. The designs are great, the build quality is fantastic, and they use great movements as well. So I won't bore you with the reference, incredibly long reference. As usual with a lot of these watches, it comes paired on its original bracelet. As you can see, it has been worn, it's been used, it's been enjoyed as it should. We can have it polished on request, but as always, add more scratches, add more wear, you know, it's all part of the character. Original bracelet, you can see the logo right there. And as we flip it around, you can see a screw down case back with an exhibition right there showcasing an automatic ETA caliber 2824-2, an absolute workhorse of a movement I think everyone will be familiar with. Very interesting bezel shape, as you can see. When you look from the sides, it sort of concaves in places. Nice signed crown at 3 o'clock as well. Overall, just a really lovely design. So bracelet and fabric strap are included and ready to be enjoyed. It's from April 2020 with its box and paperwork. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Very comfortable, very nicely proportioned. And the bracelet just works beautifully, as does the fabric strap. I actually think that looks really great on it too. So this is 40mm by 51mm lug to lug, 10mm on the thickness and 22mm at the lugs. So go check out this incredible watch at an incredible price on the website. Now we're going to move on to two humongous watches. One definitely humongous. The other are a lot more wearable. This is a crazy 2002 Longines Heritage Aviation Maxi 47 mil Aviation, sorry, not Aviation, Aviation. Yeah, let's take a closer look at this one. Now, for a Longines, you really don't see it often, and this is this gorgeous Longines Aviation limited edition of 500 pieces from around circa 2002. It's got that beautiful white dial and those blued hands and numerals, black numerals, sorry, but blued hands. It just looks incredible, and if you're looking at this going, it kind of looks like a pocket watch, especially with that big crown, you wouldn't be wrong, because the Aviation harks all the way back to one of the original Longines watches that would have been a converted pocket watch for pilots, and that's why it was so big. Now, rumour has it, and it's sort of often said, that these watches would have been strapped to the legs of the pilots to save them having to move their arms to see the time when they needed to. And I guess it kind of makes sense, really. You know, some of the biggest watches are pilots' watches, and you need to be able to see the time very quickly, very easily, very efficiently, and having something strapped to your leg, if you've got a tiny 30mm watch strapped to your leg, is probably a bit far away to see exactly what the time is. So a watch of this kind of size at 47mm makes a lot of sense. But a really, really beautiful watch. Obviously not a converted pocket watch today, but what you have is the reference L2.639.4. As we flip it over, you can see a signed snap-on case back with the reference right there. Limited edition out of 500, this is 307, and a couple of the other bits as well as the Longines Wings logo, beautifully stated right there. And inside is a manually wound Longines caliber L878.4. It's basically a heavily modified Unitaz ETA of sorts, which would have been used in pocket watches originally very, very far back, that kind of size and sort of usage. As I say, circa 2002, it unfortunately comes with no box or paperwork, but is paired on its original Longines strap, which is actually in pretty damn good condition, with its original Longines buckle, which is very, very nice. I like this buckle a lot. So yeah, let's show it on wrist, which is going to be crazy, and talk dimensions. And here we go, on my 7-inch wrist. You certainly know you're wearing this watch, and it's one of the biggest watches I've put on my wrist, that's for sure. Now, if you have a huge wrist, you could probably get away with this, but I think this is more of a collector's piece. And what I mean by that is someone who absolutely loves the history of Longines, of aviation, of all of those things. This is maybe something more for that person, where they wear it on occasion, but it's more of a collector's item, for sure. So this is 47mm by 57mm lug to lug. 13mm on the thickness and 25mm on the lugs, and as I say, the strap is perfectly fine and ready to be worn. So go check this one out on the website today. Now onto a really, really attractive and very wearable, despite being the larger size, Laco Flieger 43mm limited topper edition of 100 pieces in 43mm, as I said, with a beautiful white dial and blue highlights. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now onto a really beautiful Laco or Laco, however you want to pronounce it, and this is a Flieger watch 43mm limited edition for Topper. Topper are jewelers in the US. They've been doing a lot of great editions along with Fears and many other brands, and they always produce beautiful watches. Now this, as you can see, is a very nice white dial with blue highlights, which is almost impossible to capture because in just regular light it looks black, it looks very simple, but when you catch that light it just shines that beautiful blue and looks incredible. Signed crown at 3 o'clock, and as we flip it over, a exhibition case back with a large movement to fit the case. I love it when it's like this. So I won't bore you with the reference to this one, like the watch itself, you can go see that on the website. But this is the manually wound ETA caliber 6498-4. Sorry about that butcheration. And it's basically a modified Unitaz by ETA, which is absolutely incredible. Really nice looking. Big movement that feels amazing to wind and use, as you'd expect with a watch that big. Laco proudly stated on one of the barrels right there, and a nice big beefy balance. So this watch is from March 2020, does come with its box and paperwork. The original strap isn't present, unfortunately, but it's paired on this very nice, attractive leather strap, which really suits the design and is very comfortable and ready to be worn. And talking about that, let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, on my 7-inch wrist. I'm not too sure if I said, but it's limited to 100 pieces total, and this is number 89. And here it is on wrist. Now, I would totally wear this and be very comfortable wearing it. Even though it's a larger watch, it's very comfortable. It's 43mm by 49mm lug to lug, so under that 50mm lug to lug I always talk about. 10.5mm on the thickness, so quite thin, and 22mm on the lugs. So endless options, but I actually think this pairing works beautifully. So go check it out on the website today. Now onto a watch I've been waiting to get my hands on. I've had many of the chronos, now to have the Furland Mori grey sector dial automatic. This is 37.5mm, really attractive watch, and incredibly well priced in my opinion for what you get. So let's take a closer look at that one. Now on to this beauty by Furland Mori. This is the grey sector dial, as you can see, with that lovely texture to the dial. Really nice simple design, very reminiscent of early Patek as always with Furland Mori, and it features very nice finishing throughout with brushed and polished surfaces and these beautiful lugs that just sort of flow off the case effortlessly. It's incredible, and for those of you that know me, you know I love an interesting case and interesting lugs, and this definitely provides that. Nice big unsigned crown at 3 o'clock, and as we flip it over, an automatic movement proudly on display, and a very nice movement at that as well, with a very free-flowing rotor. Inside is a Lejeune Perret caliber G100, which is automatic obviously, and this is the reference 2145-A, and it's from 2023. It comes with its box, its little travel case in the box, and an additional strap as well as this strap. Which has a very nice and well done buckle. Furland Mori, a brand that I think are really making waves. They're producing beautifully high quality watches at very affordable prices, and on the secondary market they can be picked up for a steal as well, just like this one. I think this strap suits it beautifully, but the additional strap is very attractive as well, and quick release to make strap changing nice and easy. I love that they've got the references and serials and details between the lugs. Very reminiscent of early watches as well. But yeah, let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. This watch has hardly been worn, to be honest. Both straps are pretty much like new. The case itself, again, unless you look very closely with a loupe and direct light, it's going to be hard to find any wear really on this watch. So it's ready to be enjoyed for the first time properly. 37.5mm by 46mm lug to lug, 9.5mm on the thickness, and 20mm on the lugs. It's an endless option for this beauty. So go check it out on the website today. And in a similar vein to the Furland Mori, to now have the new Studio Underdog. I think they've done a really good job. It definitely hasn't been for everyone with the screws in the dial, but I get the design aesthetic. I think it looks really nice and it wears really well, which we'd come to expect anyway. But this is the Studio Underdog Series 2 Full Moon 37mm lume dial. Let's take a closer look. Now for the incredible Studio Underdog, this is the Series 2, nicknamed the Full Moon, as it's a full lume dial. And you've got the screws there on the dial, a sort of point for some people that they don't like it, and for others a part of the reason why they love it so much. But this full lume dial is incredible because it gives off a very milky colour, and if you've ever seen a full lume dial, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They all sort of have that tone to it, and it just makes it very, very attractive. Nicely applied numerals throughout, and the hands that Studio Underdog are sort of known for using now. Polished bezel, brushed sides, very attractive, and signed crown at 3 o'clock. And as we flip it over, you're presented with a beautiful screw down case back with a jellyfish beautifully engraved in there. Very, very nice overall. And inside is a manually wound Sellita SW210-1, a very reliable Sellita movement, which is hand winding as well, so mechanical. Circa 2023 with its box and paperwork, and it comes paired on its original Studio Underdog strap made by Strap Tailor, so I can attest to how good these straps are. Very, very comfortable and very nice. It definitely suits it. This is like a vintage style strap, 2-stitch, which will patina as you wear it and crease and make marks, which I think is again very, very attractive and goes with the overall design. It comes with a UV torch and like a fabric NATO style strap as well, so it comes with a fair bit in the package. He just recently did a new opening batch of orders for this and any of the other watches, which is great, and this is priced under that, of course, so ready to be picked up for a bargain. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, really nicely proportioned, and it looks fantastic as you'd expect. So what you're looking at is 37mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, 11.5mm on the thickness, but keep in mind a lot of that is in that domed crystal that they've used right there, and 18mm on the lug, so endless options for swapping this one out. But go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. 12 watches in this week's drop. Definitely something for everyone at all kinds of price ranges. I think the most affordable in this this drop is £750, and there's 2 of them at that price range, and the most expensive, obviously, the Daytona at around £20,500. So really something for everyone. Let me know down in the comments what is your favorite from this week's drop. I have a few and I can't really decide between them all, but if I had to just be forced to pick one, I think I'd actually go for the Glasso original. It's just absolutely beautiful. I love the case back on this, as I'm sure I said when I was talking about it, so I apologize for probably repeating myself. So yeah, thank you all very much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week. There's some very exciting stuff in next week's drop with a lot of gold, and I mean that seriously. The scrap value of gold in next week's drop is eye-watering. So I look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye-bye.